Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds, and finally, we get to stop talking about Adventures in the Forgotten Realms.
Instead, we get to grade some commander staples that are blue.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, BZ, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. That means daily content, asking you to subscribe to the Patreon, because we'd appreciate it, and asking you to just go to the TCG player link in the description to buy cards you were going to buy anyway. That's what you get in every Nitpicking Nerds intro.
Yes, that is indeed what you get in every intro. So today we're grading some more blue staples, and these are very good blue cards. I graded all of them earlier today, and I was like, wow, the blue's just 60 good cards in blue, huh?
Yeah, so we already graded the staples of EDHREC numbers 1 through 30 most played cards, and these are 31 through 60. Still some heavy hitters, obviously, on the list. And we go from A to F. A, auto-include. B, build around. C, cuttable. D, don't usually bother. And F is forget about it.
Yes, you got to forget about those. The lower the grade, the more of a reason you need to play it. So if it's an F, it's not necessarily completely unplayable, but it really either has to have a lot of synergy, you got to really like it, or just have a really strong reason to want to put it in your deck.
Yeah, we're not talking about budget or CDH. That's functionally impossible. We'd have to do 3 separate videos for that, and we're just not going to.
Yes, and much more important than the actual letter grade itself is the words we say about the cards. Obviously, the grade is a cherry on top, a memory point, if you will, but the words we say about the cards, much more important.
Maybe 6 more cycles down the road of EDH where we're doing like, all right, guys, this is the 150th most popular cards. We'll stop these disclaimers, but we need them.
Yeah, they are necessary so we can actually get this right. So to start, actually a card that has moved up quite a few spots since our last video, it's Thassa's Oracle, and we gave it a B-. This card is okay in non-CDH, because obviously in CDH, A+, but this is not CDH. It's still a really good win con. It's still the best way to go about winning with an empty deck.
Yeah, you can't just put it in your deck and expect something to happen. It's not Hull Breacher, it's not Necropotence. It's as soon as you care about milling yourself, this is like the best card in your deck, but you gotta build around it.
Yeah, exactly. This isn't card advantage. It's not getting your card back. It's going to be a mediocre scry effect.
Yeah, if you play it early, this doesn't, for 90% of the game, this doesn't do anything. On the last turn, though, this does everything.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a win con for decks that are going to self-mill themselves. That's the whole point of this card. Don't put it in any other deck. Besides that, it's not worth it.
Right. Self-mill, or like you plan on drawing everything, or you're playing some, like if your Prime Speaker's Zagonating for 60, yeah, you put it in your deck. It's gonna be pretty good. Next is another staple. It's Pongify. You got this Rite as solid C. It's 1 mana destroy a creature, and they get something that doesn't matter.
Yeah, so we don't have to talk about this too much. You can just go back a video to our grading of blue. Rapid Hybridization was in that one. Pongify is Rapid Hybrid, exactly the same thing as Rapid Hybridization. So there's not too much more to say about it other than mono blue. Yes, usually when you leave mono blue, you're done with it.
Right. The fact that once you leave mono blue, you have access to like better things all across the board. So it's not like Pongify's in any 3-color deck, really.
No, not at all. Next we have Leyline of Anticipation. I gave this a C+. It's a C just because it is so similar to another card called Vidalcan Ori, that's a C. It's a very average cuttable card in most decks. I gave it a C+ because it does have the extra text. The being able to play it for free can definitely be relevant. And when you get to do that, it does let you just play a little bit different of a game than you would otherwise.
Yeah, it does change your seat at the table. I can never find a spot in my deck where I want my spells have flash. You're playing instants anyway. I just, once you get to a high enough power level, you don't care because it's not efficient enough to play. And low enough, I'd rather just have a synergy piece or a card that makes my overall game plan better. You're like taking a turn off for this. I think they're cuttable. You, of course, can play them. And there's plenty of commanders that synergize with them.
Yes, there's synergies and there are reasons to play this card. Make sure you have some. This is one of those cards I feel is definitely overplayed. It should not probably be the 33 most played blue card. It's just not that good. But if you can find the right home for it, it is a playable Magic card.
And I will say definitely a step better than Vidalcan Ori.
I agree.
Okay, Spark Double is a C, and this, I understand why this is so high. It's so fun to clone a legendary and let it stay out, or clone a planeswalker and get an additional loyalty counter on it. I get it. I get the appeal, but ultimately, your deck needs a clone, and it only clones your things. So if you have no board, it doesn't do anything.
Yeah, it's a very medium card. Only cloning your stuff is a big downside in a clone. The upside is you get to do legends if you want to, and planeswalkers. It just adds up to the most in the middle, medium card that, you'll put in some decks, but not in a lot.
Oh, speaking of card, the next one is also a card. It's Force of Negation.
Great segue.
I thought that was really good. It's an A- because it's one of the better things you can just be doing. It's counter a spell or a non-creature spell, exile it, and then, if it's not your turn, you can 2-for-1 yourself to do it for free.
Yeah, Force of Negation gave an A-. It's about the same. It's about as good as like a Pact of Negation effect. The difference is Force of Negation, you won't ever have to pay mana for if you don't want to, or Pact of Negation you do in some cases, but this one can't be used to protect combos, which is its weakness.
Unless you're comboing on someone else's turn. That's pretty rare. Usually you're going like, all right, A plus B, let's go. And then you have a 3-mana negate. That's not really going to protect. So it's an A-, not an A or an A+. Still one of the best blue counter spells.
Obviously this is a very strong, very good counter spell, but I'm sorry, it's not the biggest staple ever.
Yeah, top 10, maybe the worst free counter spell besides like foil.
Free counter spells are amazing, it turns out.
They're all just the best. They're all in top 10 anyway. Treasure Cruise, solid. Just a rock solid. I was going to do it with my hands, but you can't make an A with your hands. It's an A.
Hey. That wasn't even that hard.
All right.
It's an A. Treasure Cruise, it just misses out on A+ because blue's... it's a weird reason when I actually was thinking about this. Blue has so much efficient, good counterspell. It's all replaceable in the way. There is nothing so insane in running away with it that you're like, this is unreplaceable.
You mean blue card draw?
Irreplaceable. Yeah, blue card. That's what I say.
I think you said counterspells.
Blue. Yeah, what
Also
I meant
true.
to say. Yeah, blue draw spells are so strong in that you just don't have to worry about not being able to replace it. If you don't have a Treasure Cruise, there are so many spells that are slight percentage points worse. It's insane.
Even Concentrate can be similar if your power level is low or you have enough time, or maybe just in that given game. It didn't matter if you tapped out or not for the draw 3.
Absolutely. But Treasure Cruise is one of the best of the best.
It's better than Concentrate. In case I needed to clarify.
Yeah, it was that's just a very minor nitpick. The plus, I took a plus away from it.
Yeah.
Still an A, still one of the best cards in EDH. Very strong Magic card.
It's so good. You just need to be able to fill your graveyard, and sometimes you don't even need to do that because you just have fetch lands, cantrips, removal spells, instants, creatures die. Magic the Gathering happens. Past turn 10, it's always 1 mana.
Yeah, Delve is a mechanic that rewards you for playing the game. You don't have to do anything else. Yeah, if you're a turbo filling your graveyard, this card gets a boost, gets better, gets up to like an A+ status, but it doesn't matter. When you play Magic, cards go to your graveyard. That's actually the result of either creatures being destroyed or even casting just instant sorceries.
Right. And now, speaking of Thassa's Oracle from before, we got Laboratory Maniac, the original game ender with no library. We got this at a D at this point. You just don't need to play it anymore. There's better options. Some decks might want the trifecta of Jace and Thassa's Oracle and this guy. I think that's a little bit overkill.
Yeah, agreed. That was perfectly put. This has become the worst option for this slot, period. And because of that, it's a D. If you're budget, this is the budget option. So there you go.
It's the explosive vegetation of you win the game.
Yeah, fair enough. I was going to say 8, but these aren't numbered. Muddle the Mixture is next, and it is a C. Super middle of the road. This obviously has high applications in very high-powered decks where the tutor can get you both your Isochron Scepter and your Dramatic Reversal. But in the average deck, this just isn't a good counter spell, and it's not a good tutor either.
Right. It's not great on either end, and for 2 mana, especially blue, you can get counterspell, or you can shave a blue off and go like Arcane Denial or something like that. I'm not in unless you have a really crucial piece at 2. Then okay, maybe sometimes you'll discard a card, pay 3 mana to go find your 2-drop.
Yeah, exactly. It's a very middle of the road card. It requires a lot of synergy to want to get into your deck, but sometimes it's going to be indistinguishable from other counter spells. That's just going to happen. There's going to be an instant on the stack. You're like, doesn't matter if this is Muddle the Mixture over instead of counterspell, but just avoid it mostly.
Dig Through Time is next. It's an A. We just talked about everything that makes Dig Through Time good with Treasure Cruise, except Dig Through Time is a tiny bit better because sometimes it just functions like a mini tutor. If you see 7 cards and you're looking for a removal spell or a card draw spell, you're probably going to find one.
The thing that gives this the extra little boost for being a little bit better than Treasure Cruise is also instant. It costs 1 more mana, but that instant allows, in blue, allowing yourself to hold up mana for potential counter spells, interaction, anything like that, and then just being like, okay, I didn't have to do any of my interaction.
Yeah.
I'll just dig through time.
Yeah, and then you can hold up the mana and say, I don't know what I need. But when somebody casts something, I'll then know what I need.
Exactly.
Do I need a Rapid Hybrid? Do I need an Arcane Denial? Do I need a Bolas's Citadel for next turn, trying to win.
Well, you were gonna need that anyway. I don't.
I'm just trying to like think of a non-blue card.
I guess, if they played out their Seal of Cleansing, you'll be like, oh,
Ooh.
see, I knew not to get the Bolas's
I
Citadel.
knew it. Perfect. I'll get my blue enchantment removal. Boomerang.
Classic. Everyone loves Boomerang. Next, we have Mental Misstep. F. Don't touch this. This is not a non-CDH card.
No.
EDH, CDH, great. As soon as you move anywhere down the list into a lower power level, this card falls off so incredibly fast. Yeah, I get it. Everybody has a Soul Ring in the deck. It counters something. Not a good enough reason to play this card.
The only reason to play this outside of CDH is meme value for the 1 in 100 when you actually do counter a turn 1 Soul Ring and everybody freaks out because that'll be hilarious. The pressure is on in CDH to have 1, 2, and 3 drop plays every turn of the game, forever. That pressure is not there in Commander. It's just play a spell or play 2 spells. So unreliable. Just like can't stress enough how effy this is.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned how in regular EDH, the 1, 2, the 3s are your pressure to do it every turn. I've played, comparing that to normal EDH, I've played games where I go nothing, 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 and then I win at the end of the game because EDH is such a different monster from the competitive side of this format.
Right. How about number 11? There's no numbers.
There's no numbers.
How about Archaeomancer?
Archaeomancer is just a D. This is a very middle of the road card. It's a creature that lets you get back a instant sorcery from your graveyard. If you're in the market for this, this is the best one. But none of them are aggressively costed enough for me to want to put them on my deck.
No, the aggressively costed version of this is Mystic Sanctuary. So maybe you want that over like a creature that does it. It's just hard to loop this with anything relevant. I get it that you can. There are some infinite combos you can do with this. We even in the Commander Cube we're going like Archaeomancer, evacuation, bounce everything. Oh, my Archaeomancer's back. Guess what I'm gonna do next turn? So it has places, not many.
Yeah, Archaeomancer, Peregrine Drake, Ghostly Flicker is a nice infinite combo. I mean, and if you're doing that, this card's gonna work. But I think if you're not doing that, I'm close to never playing this card.
Yeah, it's just too expensive for what you're getting.
Oh, it's also the classic, the very classic creature in my spells deck.
Yeah, it's a creature in your spells deck, and how do you justify that?
You got to have some, but this is not the best one for sure.
Right, you have like how many, like 10 creatures in your deck?
Yeah, so Archaeomancer is just not making the cut of most decks. Next is Fabricate. This is a D. This is a bad tutor overall. Again, I think this just sneaks in the mono blue CDH highly competitive decks. This is not a good rate for a tutor.
3 mana sorceries we know that's below par. We have Idyllic Tutor, Grim Tutor, Fabricate, all of the Trinket mages, and Trinket mages are better because they're creatures, but 3 mana sorcery speed tutor is undoubtedly fair.
It is, and maybe this could possibly sneak up to maybe a C-, but I don't really play Fabricate, and I'm not interested, and if I ever dip my toe in the black even slightly, this card just goes to an F.
It's tough because when you have the really strong stuff that you might want to Fabricate for, like Mana Crypt, just play Trinket Mage, and it's a creature.
Yeah.
It still gets your Mana Crypt.
Completely agree with that. Next, we have Bident of Thassa. This is just a B. This is a very solid card. It gives all your creatures the ability to just deal damage and draw cards, and it's not 1 per attack. No. If you hit with 5 creatures, you draw 5 cards.
Please build around this.
Oh yeah. Make sure you have the creatures. You have to have somewhere between 25 to 35 creatures, probably or higher. 25 and up creatures to make this card work.
In the average deck, it's an F, but when you build around it, it's a B for sure.
Oh, this card's great. And it even has the bonus text that is relevant. You can just make an opponent attack with all their creatures in a turn.
That's backbreaking, especially when combat matters or you're freeing up attacks for you to smash them and draw 6 cards.
Yeah.
It ruins somebody.
Yeah. It's funny because like this card's a B, and like the same thing called Coastal Piracy, I would probably give like a D to, just because the extra text makes it so it's like, why would you ever touch Coastal Piracy? It just, there's no reason. You don't need 3 of that effect because there's also another one, and that's cycles. So Coastal Piracy is just like, it's the
laboratory maniac of explosive vegetation.
It was literally exactly what I was thinking of explosive vegetation.
Yeah. Next up on the list, we got Chain of Vapor. This is a D- because, like we say every 5 seconds now, apparently in this video, we're not doing CDH. In CDH, you can like bounce your own spell and then return it, and then sacrifice a land and return it, another thing, and then cast 3 more spells, and this one card gets you like 5 storm. That's great. Some decks do want that, but if it's unsummon that they can copy, ugh.
No, yeah, we're not super interested in playing Chain of Vapor. It's overall not a very strong card outside of a hyper competitive type of EDH. It's really, really really bad overall.
Yeah, it's just like the Spell Pierce that we talked about last time. How about Spellseeker?
Spellseeker is a B+. This card is great.
So good.
You just have to make sure you have enough good targets. And when you build a deck, the Nitpicking Nerd's way at least, you end up with a lot of targets.
And the difference between a 3-mana sorcery speed sorcery and a sorcery speed creature tutor is creature tutors can be reanimated and flickered, and you can go, I don't know, go get Ephemerate with this and then do it again and then do it again next turn and just go crazy.
Yeah, this thing is about 10 times better in your blue-white flicker decks than a Fabricate type effect. It's not even close.
This one's disheartening where you go Spellseeker, get Arcane Denial, pass.
Yeah. There's also, you can just Spellseeker for something to flicker it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, just Ephemerate it.
Or get if you get Ephemerate, then you get 2 more triggers, so now you've doubled up on them. Yeah, that's great. That's super strong.
Blue Suns Zenith is next. It's one of the go-to X draw spells because it shuffles in. So in a roundabout way, sometimes the longer games or you mill yourself, it's gonna be a win condition if you cast it and it goes to the only card in your deck. Shuffle it into your non-existent deck. Every time you draw a card, you cast it, and you make somebody else draw like 50 cards.
Yeah, there's nothing crazy about this card. Just got it as C+. It's good. It definitely fits into certain lists. But there's also this card is very replaceable.
Yeah.
We got what was it? Commander Insight.
There's Pull from Eternity, which is a mana cheaper if you don't care about the shuffling in clause, and then there's Commander's Insight, which is going to draw you more cards.
Yes, and then there's the new one. There's another one.
It's got Divination in the title, right?
You roll
Portent of Divination, I think is what it is.
You roll a dice. I know that. So there's a lot of versions of this card. There's a lot of the play. They're so close. They're all so close, and they all have slight niches where they're better,
and not every deck wants them. You want to be definitely a deck that has plenty of instants to hold up and do various things.
Yeah.
Because you don't want to go, okay, I'm definitely casting Blue Sun for 4 this turn. Just not as great when you have to say that.
Yeah, exactly. Also, you don't have to say that. I wouldn't announce that.
Yeah, I've been meaning to talk about this next one for a while, though. What is it?
It's Disallow. Solid F. 3 mana cancels with minor upside. No, it's not even close to a spell I am looking to touch in the EDH format.
Yeah, I see all the time people recommend this as a counter spell, like in comments, and I don't know about videos, but definitely people are recommending this for real. I think this card is really bad. I think it's like the trap text of, I can counter a triggered ability. So I get my counter spell, and sometimes I can counter a Planeswalker ultimate or an untap trigger or something. It's worse than Dissolve, I think. Just, I'd rather scry 1. So I'd rather get something plus. 3 mana, I want counterspell and.
Yes. So I think that the thing to look at, this is very similar to something we talked about with tutors, where 2 mana is amazing, 3 mana is meh. This is even stronger. 2 mana is okay.
Right.
And so if 2 mana is okay, 3 mana is awful. This is overcosted for a counterspell. I don't want to be paying more than 2 mana unless there's a big old plus on the end of that, and this one does not have that.
No, I mean, at 3 mana, compare this to like Archmage's Charm or just any of the other. When we talk about counterspells, 0 mana is amazing, 1 is great, 2 is good, and then 3 is just bad.
3 is awful. It's the point of like you're just not touching it in EDH.
Yeah, maybe we need to do a short on it, but I definitely think Disallow is straight up F.
Straight up poo-poo.
Regardless of whether it saves you, because just because it saved you doesn't mean it should go in your deck confirmation bias that it's fine.
I mean, it's really easy. I mean, to show that it's not that insane and like confirmation bias, I think it's like if you put Stifle in your deck, it will come up. You will counter a Planeswalker ultimate, and it will save you in that game.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't. The thing that you're not going to see, and the thing that is much harder to see, is how often Stifle was dead. Stifle could have been a better card, and all of that. And like that is what you can't add up. But the confirmation bias of seeing it save you puts you in that spot. Like if this was anything else, I would have lost. But it's like if that was anything else, maybe you would have won already.
Overall, your win percentage, your game chance of winning percentage would be higher. I think we can call that the Croson Grip effect.
Yeah, agreed completely.
All right, Phyrexian Metamorph is a B. It's rock solid because it clones artifacts, creatures, and it's anything. It's not a Spark double clone. It's you get the best thing, and sometimes you get like a Thran Dynamo or a Soul Ring, and you just feel great because it's 3 mana for the best artifact.
I think this is the best clone, one of the best clones in Commander.
In contention.
Yeah, in contention. There's like a middle ground of like most clones are good. There's one I know that's better. One off the top of my head.
What would you say?
Glasspool Mimic is better.
Glasspool Mimic, yeah, maybe just more playable. Maybe not even necessarily better on the stack.
Well,
just I'm going to put in more of my decks for sure.
We don't talk about cards. The better on the field, we're going to be talking about how
we should really play Quicksilver Gargantuan because it's a 7/7.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, if we're going to talk about going onto the field, yeah, obviously we're talking about the one that costs the most mana. But regardless of that, Phyrexian Metamorph being able to add in the extra artifacts gives it a nice little oomph. The fact that it's only 3 mana and 2 life is thumbs up. You're never paying blue unless you just happen to have it laying around. So
I think this card in your deck boosts up other cards in your deck. Like I might start playing Fabricate if I can go get a clone. That's a little bit different. Now you're searching for creatures and artifacts.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, that's pretty fair. And I do Phyrexian Metamorph also has a few combos with like Serum, yes. So that's also a nice little boost to its power.
Yeah. How about oh man, another A+. This is we were talking about our like aggressive ban list, and we were like, hey, if we ban all those cards, what would be one of the most annoying cards in the format? And I immediately thought of Consecrated Sphinx. It's 4 blue, 4/6 flyer. If an opponent would draw, hey, you get to draw 2.
This card is an A+. Yeah. And I remember when we just had really good draw spells, and I said, yeah, all these draw spells in blue are great, but they're all replaceable. This one's not. This is the only one that you can't really replace, because the simple fact of the matter is, one go around is a guaranteed 6 cards. Mm-hmm. Card draw is so essential to Commander, your opponents are bound to draw 2 extra, 3 extra, one go around. All of a sudden, you untap with 12, 13, 14, 15, 16 cards in your hand, and how are you losing from that point?
No, it is a card that if you untap with, I think you're almost guaranteed to win, or at least dominate the majority of the game. Mm-hmm. It's hard to overcome in a direct 3-on-1, but you're going to be threat number 1 if you untap with this, and it's not going to die if you have counter spells to back it up. Consecrated Sphinx is like its own breed. I don't think it's one of the best cards in the whole format, but I think it's like one of the most deadly. How about that?
I think it's one of the least fun cards in the whole format.
Yeah, you do have to, you got to spend 6 mana at sorcery speed. So that's the only downside of this card.
I will say one thing, and I will move on from Consecrated Sphinx. I think this card is bannable for the reason of 2 Consecrated Sphinx being... They don't interact correctly.
Oh, they interact. You get your trait secret. It's the card that's banned.
Yeah, exactly. 2 Consecrated Sphinx, which is something that happens all the time with Consecrated Sphinx.
Phyrexian Metamorph.
Any clone. Exactly. Any clone, all of a sudden, you're just put in this position where it's so dumb.
Yeah, 2 players get to play 1-on-1, and everybody else gets to not play.
And that's miserable. And that is the reason this has at least some discussion to be banned, even though it is a 6-mana spell.
But it's a great card, so put it in your deck.
Yes.
And it's one of those that what's the word I'm looking for? It surpasses synergy. Like, who cares? Just play in your deck, you'll be fine.
You don't need synergy for this card. Yeah.
All right, Deadeye Navigator. This was like one of the boogeymans of the format. I remember us classic Nitpicking nerds being so ahead of time at times. Years ago, we were like, I don't really see it. It's a good card. Yeah. It's okay. You get 6 mana, and then you need 2 more mana to go for it. I don't know if any Magic card has more infinite combos than this. And this is a card that comes up so often that's like, hey, have you heard of the new ETB creature from the new set? It actually goes infinite with Deadeye Navigator. It's like, yeah, I got it.
Yeah, Deadeye Navigator is just an infinite way to flicker very, very easily. Mm-hmm. There's not, there is things like Etherize just plays here, but we need colorless mana. That makes it a little tougher. This one, Soulbound. So there's a trigger there, which makes it a little, but on top of all that, if you have the extra mana, it protects itself. It does not just die to spot removal right away.
For the most part, yeah. As Joe was saying, PSA, Soulbound to pair creatures is a trigger, and you can't flicker without being paired. So if they want to try to go bounce it and then do something, it's like, well, hold on, there's this Soulbound trigger, and then I'll kill it.
Yeah, exactly. But I really like this card. It only goes in flicker decks for the most part, or tons of ETB decks, but very good Magic card.
It's a little clunky.
It definitely clunky. It is. That's why it's a B-.
Right.
Because if this card costs any less, this card starts getting very crazy very fast.
Oh yeah.
Just drop it to 4 mana. That card's busted in half. It's only 2 less mana. Next, we have Etherize. Simple enough. I don't think this card is even remotely good.
I don't think it's the budget Cyclonic Rift like some people claim it is. I don't think it is really going to get too much value. 4 mana has a lot to hold up for a niche scenario. I would much rather play, why can't I think of it? The 4 mana bounce all creatures, Engulf the Shore, or Devastation Tide, or the Perplexing Test. Perplexing Test is fantastic, and it's budget.
I think Perplexing Test is the real, that's the one that you really want to be playing if you can get it. Etherize, it's just not there. The fact that they have to be attacking, I'm just not interested in that. Next we have Peregrine Drake, B-. This goes in every deck that Deadeye Navigator goes in because it goes infinite with Deadeye Navigator.
Surprise. It's a 0 mana 2/3. but you have to build around it. If you're not flickering this, don't play it at all.
Yeah, a 0 mana 2/3 is actually not that great in Commander. It's pretty medium. But when all you have to do is start flickering in, all of a sudden this card is just going to be a house.
A fun infinite I saw with this was Peregrine Drake, Living Death, and Eternal Witness. I thought that was pretty funny. You just cast Eternal Witness, you cast Living Death with the 5 lands you untap over and over and over and over and over.
No,
you just need a sack outlet.
Yeah, that's fair.
Pretty cool.
That is definitely an infinite combo that can happen.
How about Clever Guy, Clever Impersonator?
Yeah, Clever Guy. I almost wrote that in the script actually. Clever Impersonator is another B. It's about as good as Phyrexian Metamorph. A little bit. I think it's a little worse because it tends to cost 4. It definitely costs 4 mana, where Phyrexian Metamorph can cost 2. But this copies anything. This can be a Planeswalker.
Smothering Tithe, maybe?
Smothering Tithe, obviously. How this guy is so clever.
So clever. He's really intelligent.
So good at impersonating things, he can become a tithe or a tax.
Or a treasure token.
I hate this guy. He doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense, but he's a really good magic card. Delay is one of the counter spells. We just did a poll on our community tab about it. It's a C+. It's honestly fine, especially when the pressure is higher and the game's end sooner. Delay is just counterspell, but it costs 1 and a blue instead of blue, because that card's never coming back. Or if you counter like an X spell, well, sorry, it's done. It doesn't do anything.
Yeah, delay there's nothing like super strong or super bad about it. It just it sits in this middle ground at a C, where it's a counter spell that if you have it, you can throw it in your deck, but it doesn't have much synergy, so it tends not to go in too many decks. If you're playing like a brawl deck, it's nice to just be able to get that reduction instead of having to play a counter spell.
It's a good card, but it is cuttable. Ghostly Flicker, C. And the C is like, you got to be playing some kind of combo with. I think if there's no combo, forget it. I don't think you should play it otherwise.
I do think this card gets you good value. I think it is a C, and I don't think you necessarily do have to be comboing to play it.
Okay.
Because the double flicker is just not something you really can get. And the 3 mana is very aggressively costed to do that. As long as your deck is high on ETBs, this is one of the better instant sorceries for flickering you're going to get.
What I always find with Ghostly Flicker is it's the reverse Archaeomancer. It's a spell in your creature deck.
I agree.
How many spells are in your creature deck?
Yeah, and I think that's why it sits at a C. I think it is probably the best of these spells in your flicker deck.
Up there.
Yeah, one that comes to my mind that people play in their flicker deck slot is Momentary Blink. That's 6 mana, they get 2 blinks. This is 3 mana, get 2 blinks. And I know you can't separate them and play them separately like that, but this one also gives you the potential for combo, whereas you're not comboing with Momentary Blink at all.
At the very minimum, it gives you loops where every turn I'll do something pretty sweet. Rite Replication is a really good clone. It's a slow clone, but it's really good when you cast it. C+, 5 token copies. That's really tempting.
I think this card, I've come around this card. This is a card I was high on in the beginning of EDH.
I remember that.
Fell super down to I don't want to ever play this card. Now I'm back up a little bit where it's like a C+, maybe even going to a B-. This card in the right decks, when you have the synergy, it sometimes just wins the game. It just does. If you copy the right creature or the right effect, you just end up winning the game. BZ used it to copy what was it? The Mana Tripler.
Oh, Nyxbloom Ancient?
Nyxbloom Ancient. BZ copied a Nyxbloom Ancient. His mana he's making
it was 5,000 per, I think.
He's making 5,000 mana per tap. It's yeah, that's going to win you the game because that's completely and utterly bonkers.
Yeah, and it wasn't my creature. I stole the game. And when your deck's okay with the floor, which is 4 mana clone, when you're okay with that, that's when you want Rite of Replication. I have it in a Brutaclad deck. Yeah, we'll take the clone. We want the token copy of something specifically. It's so specific and it works. Sometimes you steal a game.
Yeah. The main thing is just you look for your synergy pieces. If you have good things for yourself to copy, you probably want it. It has the upside. The upside is really awesome of copying other people's stuff. The fact is, when you target their thing, and even if they have a removal spell, they're not going to use it. I mean, if they have a sack outlet, they might use it, but they're not going to want to go
right.
2 for 1 myself. And get rid of my best creature that I obviously want to keep.
Yeah, there's a Hall of Fame for Rite of Replication targets. Nyxbloom Ancient is one of them. Inferno Titan, Sepulchral Primordial.
Ooh, Grave Titan.
See, that doesn't, because then you get
then you get
what do you get 1 zombie for that? 5 Grave Titans.
you do get 10 zombies. It is a decent amount of zombies.
Etherium Sculptor. It's a C, and it's really good in the right artifact decks, but you have to care about that 1 reduction being able to reduce something to 0. which is nice. Not everything does that. This lets you pay 0 for 1-drop.
Yeah, this card is fine, and I think maybe I'm underestimating it. I've never played it, and I think I've never played a deck that wanted it, so I could easily be underestimating this card, honestly, at a C.
I have. It's fine. I mean, you know the other spells that you never end up playing. Your spells, your white and blue spells cost 1 less, or your green spells or your dragon spells cost 2 less. Like those don't ever make it. But when your deck is like 60 artifacts, and you can take advantage of chaining like 4 or 5 in a turn as opposed to 2, then this is gonna be great.
Yeah, that's fair. And I've just, like I said, it's never been in my deck, and I gave it a C. I think it is a middle of the road card, but tell us what you think, because this is a card I don't have enough experience with.
We're open to it. Trinket Mage, this is where you find your Mana Crypt, your Soul Ring, and your Skull Clamp. And the more of those dumb cards that are not fair you have, the better this card gets. If you have none of those cards, I'm probably not playing this.
No. I mean, that was pretty simple. You're right. Trinket Mage just gets it gets Soul Ring. You need somewhere between 3 and like and up.
There's no upper limit.
It's 3 and up. Once you have 3 and up targets, this becomes like a versatile thing. If you're playing a Skull Clamp, it gets that because that card's so stupid.
Yeah, I like there's a little like package you have, and I usually throw in 1 artifact land like a Darksteel Citadel or Seat of the Synod or the Treasure Trove, is it called? The artifact land that makes treasures now. You can include one of those and then go get it, and so you don't miss your land drop.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a solid C+. Feel free to throw it in decks that have a nice package.
Or cut it from decks that have a nice package.
Nice package.
Whoa. PG-13.
Next, we have Rewind D-. This almost goes in no decks whatsoever. Yep.
It's just not good. It is free. I know we're both thinking it, so this is definitely Will Smith's favorite counterspell. Because it is, in fact, rewind time when you play rewind.
I had a way better thought.
Oh, what? How is it better than
How
that?
about an infinite combo? We have to have omniscience out already.
I'm listening. I'm listening.
It starts with omniscience in play.
Okay.
You cast an uncounterable spell like Abrupt Decay.
Sure.
Oh, no, it doesn't work. No,
we already fizzled it.
Hold on.
Oh, we're back.
Tameo Emblem.
Tameo Emblem.
And omniscience.
Right, so omniscience, and that's pretty easy. That's only 2 cards. Those are easy to set up. So, and rewind. And one of your own spells.
And a uncounterable spell. Then you can just make infinite mana by counting your own spell.
Even if the spell was counterable, right? Rewind just goes back. But
and the spell's going back because we have Tameo Emblem. Boop, 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 boop. They broke it, baby.
I finally broke rewind. It only requires 85. I think Will Smith would say, "Oh, that's hot."
I lost the rewind in standard with a Tameo Emblem.
Oh man,
I remember that losing that game. And it was one of those like, I had lost that game 4 turns ago, and I was too newbie to scoop.
Yep, too newbie to scoop. And they're like, Tameo Emblem won me the game. It's like, no.
They were like, Tameo. I'm like, okay. They're like, pass. And then I cast a spell like rewind. I'm like, I get it. Okay. All right, now I get it.
So just don't go near rewind, really.
Yeah.
Serum Visions is the last card. It's a cantrip. It's a D-. It's not the best cantrip. It's not the 5th best cantrip. It's just okay. I struggle to find a deck that wants this, but some decks do.
It's close to an F, but it's not quite there. It's just not good.
Like I can't give a cantrip an F. It's the floor is really high. It's just it's cantrip. It's Scries too.
Exactly.
It's just don't bother. You can do so much better.
There's just so many. There's so many good cantrips in this format that we never have to touch Serum Visions.
No, we really don't. But that's the video.
Yep, that is a video. Special shout outs to every single one of our patrons who is scrolling on the screen right now. We love you all as much as we can without making you uncomfortable. You guys are awesome. You support us. You make our dreams come true. Is that what I was going to say?
Wow. I love the patrons. I love them so much. I'm going to tell anyone who's not a patron to go over to patreon.com so your name can be on this scrolling list of generous patrons. Or if you don't even care, you're just like, whatever, dude. Just tell me a way to support the channel without spending any extra money. Well, hold on. TCG player link in the description. Go click on it and then buy cards. And then once you start with the link and check out, well, we get a kickback on the order. Just like I said, just like you were hoping for, with no extra money spent.
No extra money spent, you say?
All the haters are just frantically going to the site now. They're like, what?
Yeah. All you have to do, click on the link in the description, buy your cards, support the nerds. Discord. Yeah. You can have a Discord and you can send us some messages and hang out with us and Magic players.
Okay, so for a tidbit, I have like 2 in the chamber if you don't have one.
Go ahead. I can't remember mine.
All right. So the first one, when I first got my kitten, if you don't know, I have a cat. Her name's Amber. She's adorable. So when she was a kitten, we got her this little piece of fabric, and we laid it with her like, hey, this is your blankie, so that she has something that smelled like her. And she just carried it. She's now 9 and still has it. And every once in a while, when she wants to hang out, or I don't know if she wants to play, or she just wants attention, she'll pick up the blankie in her mouth and then drag it all around the house, meowing, and bring it to us and just kind of drop it and go, here you go. And we were just wondering, what the heck is that? I think she's learned that dragging the blankie gets her pets or something.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. I do think that's what it is, actually.
So if you have a cat that does that, let us know. It's adorable. Second tidbit is, oh my God, we set up the lights today.
This took us so long, and I know the lighting down in this corner and that corner is a little dark.
We're working on it.
We ordered more lights.
Yes.
We're fixing it. The lighting on our face is much more even. This literally took me hours. I wish I can't. I'll take a picture of it and I'll put it on Twitter of how that light is hanging. It's kind of hilarious.
It is a little bit funny. It required us kind of almost breaking things. The pre-con power-up videos, they just ended up being like yellow. I think we finally got the paint to be a normal color.
Yeah, we're not lighting experts, and
clearly,
I reached out to a bunch of people, but
we might not even need them.
We might not need them because our lighting might end up being okay. Lighting's hard.
It apparently is. I was like, how can we not figure this out?
I spent like an hour watching YouTube videos, and some of them. And it was the classic, like when you go on YouTube and you search up anything, there's a million people who make the video.
Well, there's always third tidbit. There's always these influencers, right? They got to where they are. They're at 200,000 subs now, and they are, I swear to you, just making videos that if you aren't paying attention, you'll go, oh yeah, that was fine. Next one. And if you actually listen, they say nothing, just absolutely nothing. The ones that always come to mind are like how to grow on YouTube. Watch those videos and watch how little they tell you.
I want to be like, this is gonna be the last tidbit. This is not YouTube. Is not a secret formula.
No.
It's not. You don't just get to win YouTube and go straight to the making millions of dollars. Yeah, does that happen to people? Oh, absolutely. Rarely. Of course it does. Look at the Dream. He combining luck with timing and whatever
and it's still good content though. You know, it's hard to stumble making trash.
Exactly, it is hard to stumble making trash. It's hard to stumble into greatness making trash. But there is luck combined with other things. But one of the main key, and this is like key to life actually, to being successful on YouTube, is hard work.
I thought you were going to go Sopranos and end the video.
It turns out, just like every single other aspect of life where you want to get ahead, you have to put in the work.
I love the saying, there's no free lunch.
I've never heard that.
It's, I believe it is an economics thing. There's no free lunch. Like, nothing is a free roll, basically.
Yeah. I mean, believe me, you can get more success than you might deserve, and you can get less success than you might deserve. But if you don't work hard, you're going to have no success.
And that's the best way to end a video I've ever seen.
Yeah. Peace out, Tribe Scout.